Hello. I am trying to say something, trying to do something. Because it worked last time. May not work this time because it's a different kind of thing. But when I was struggling to like get through and do a bunch of stuff a couple of weeks ago, I had a bunch, was it like 2 or 3 weeks ago? I had a bunch of Halloween note cards. I needed some more for the next batch of orders that I was sending out because I hadn't made enough. So I did like a craft with chat while I craft thing, but it worked because hello, you're right, Aquarius L. But it worked because I managed to get a bunch of stuff done, and I think I was live for like an hour and a half. You know me, or you may not. That was rather presumptuous of me. Hi, Deanne. But then, yeah, and then I think I did some crafting. You're right, Simon. Some crafting for another hour and a half after that, like just finishing up all of the pouches. Hello, Pamela. So that was great. I actually spent a chunk of time on Monday, I think it was, making a load of Christmas note cards. I'm trying not to like mention Crimbo stuff before the Halloween has happened. Hi, Rosemary and Kim Moon Whisper and Linda. Goodness. So yeah, long time no see, everyone. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Deanne was live just very, very recently, about half an hour ago, and a bunch of us were in there. And I had just finished my lunch, and I was absolutely stuffed to the gills with noodles, spicy satay noodles. Simon knows the ones, I've made them for him. Hi, Jamie, you're right, my love. And I finished sewing this pouch whilst listening to Deanne's live, watching and listening. But that was the last of the pouches of the batch that I had recently cut the other day. They're all sewed to that point where they're sewed up, but they don't have their charm and they don't have their ribbon and their little heart that like holds everything on and keeps everything tidy and neat and just adds a little extra something. So now I need to attach all the charms, and I don't mind sewing on the charms. My least favorite bit is the sticking on, like getting the ribbon and the little hearts on, because I have to use a hot glue gun. It's very fiddly. If it goes wrong, I've ruined the pouch. And as far as I'm concerned, that pouch is a write-off. I can't sell that. So I have to really focus, and I get a bit anxious and stressed doing that bit. So my favorite bit is like, my two favorite bits are like picking all the colors and cutting them out and then sewing them to this point. My next bit that I don't mind so much is sewing on the charms, and my least favorite bit is the heart and the ribbon, and that is purely because it involves much concentrating and sort of very finesse and have you met me? Those are two traits I do not possess in abundance at all. So but I was like, do you know what? I was like, I should just knock off for the day. I'm tired. And I do a lot of the time I have to listen to my body and just rest when I need to. But I'm like, no, because I need to get the ribbons on tomorrow. And then if I don't do the charms today, I will be behind. I just don't want to be behind because I have so much to do for this Christmas collection and for all of the stuff that I need to sew. And I want to do like little ornaments, and I was like, maybe I'll be able to do some spread cloths, and I'm like clearly giving myself too much to do. So I'm like, I just need to crack on. We will see. And ultimately, whatever I manage to get done, I get done, because like I always say, I am one chronically ill person trying to run a tiny business. But so I'm cracking on, I'm pushing through, and in order to do that, I need to I need some moral support / slight distraction, if does that make sense? Because I've been listening to Critical Role while I sew. There's some really good videos, with some videos that I want to watch, but they're a bit more sort of heavy topics, and I've had some really horrible news at the weekend, and I don't want to have to listen to any heavy topics this week, honestly. So I've just been listening to Critical Role because that's fun. But yeah, I'm sort of Critical Rolled out today, believe it or not. So No noodle foodie here, says Pamela. Love noodles. You've eaten, good deal. We'll get you longer. Yeah, no, because Jamie, because I'm always like, I'm so hungry. Oh my god, at the end of my live yesterday, I had like I don't know if you saw it on, I had a moment, like I started to get that like spinny, cold, dizzy, white haze feeling when my blood pressure really drops and then my sugar levels really drop, and I'm just like, oh, I don't feel so good. I need to eat something. Now you have to give them personality, says Jamie. Yes, that's right. So yeah, so I just need to crack on. So I have like a way that I do things. I have a routine, as it were. So I'm going to give it a go. I may struggle sewing on charms. I have tried this before where I was trying to chat and sew charms on, and it didn't work because of the focus needed. So I'm going to give it a go. And if it doesn't work, either I'll come off the live or I'll pick something else to do, more like paper crafty, because paper crafting is more sort of, I don't know what that means. More free and easy, you know what I mean? So anyway, I need my little watercolor pencils. Where are they? I don't know. Oh, where are they? They're at the bottom of my broken Cali mug. So I have little watercolor pencils, the lovely Caran d'Ache Supra color. I use these ridiculously expensive watercolor pencils to mark where I'm sewing the charm on my pouches. And I dip them in some water and I find the halfway point. What are you doing here? Still got my little, that was on my thing, on my pencil pot. So 6.6, that's 6. So I've marked my halfway point. And then on this little one, this is like a lovely sort of violet with a fuchsia and then a lavender stitching. And I went for a lavender satin ribbon, double-sided satin ribbon, and a little fairy tale castle, I guess, is the thing. Now I need a thread that matches, and I don't have that many. Hi, Tycon. I don't have that many like regular machine threads in loads of different colors anymore, because they just get used up. And because I don't do as much machine sewing these days, I haven't replaced them. So I need to find an embroidery floss that matches the felt as much as possible to sew the charm on, obviously, because we want it to, we don't want to sew it on with like a really, like, you know, I don't want to sew on with a lime green thread or anything, do I? Obviously, I want it to sort of all blend in and match nicely. So just going through my little jar of random offcuts of threads and felt. I guess I could use the same thread that I actually stitched the blanket stitch in. That would still work, although that matches, but it's too short. This may be incredibly boring watching. That's perfect for the Crystal Unicorn deck. I have the Crystal Unicorn here, actually. That's a good point. Shall we see the colours? It's one of my model decks that I use for photographing for the shop. Crystal Unicorn. Yum, 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 yum. I love this deck. It's so cute. And it's the color. I'm doing it because the colours make me hungry. The colours, like, they taste so nice. But yeah, maybe I'll photograph it for the shop with this deck, Pamela. This is a little bolder than this. This is more pastel, or pastel, as you say in the norths of Americas. And I have the original printing where they had accidentally cropped the 8 of Pentacles and cropped out the 8th and final pentacle, and they had to redo it on the next printings. But I didn't ask for a replacement card because I kind of like that I've got the mistake, because ultimately that will set it apart as the first printing. So tried machine sewing a spread cloth yesterday. How can it be so hard to just sew a straight line on a square? Oh, Rosemary. Yeah. Do you know what? Sewing is easy, but also it's not. Does that make sense? Like, it is a skill. I can hear my husband's just got back from walkies with Dr. Nomi. But yeah. Hi, Sam. You're up, my dear. I like that contrast of colours. Yeah, like having the pastel with the bold. Yeah, that also works. Oh, that would be great with the purple paradoxical too. And also, Jamie, the paradoxical rose. I think I'm going to make, when I finally get around to making one for my own paradoxical rose, I think I'm actually going to put an actual little rose. Because sometimes I don't always use charms. Sometimes I use like these little roses. Not often, but sometimes. So I think I'll probably use one of my pink or my dark red rose for my paradoxical one. I've also used tassels on them before as well, but they're a bit sort of chunky. I think they work a bit better on sort of larger deck pouches. So, and I've used bows as well. I've got little bows here. So, a good button. A good button? What's a button? Singer sewing machine. No, I have a Genome. Although one day, I'd love a Bernina, like a nice top spec Bernina. One can dream. They are a little pricey, but so lovely to sew with. I've sewn on like friends' Berninas. That would sound like a weird sentence for those people who don't know what a Bernina sewing machine is. But my mother-in-law has an original treadle. I believe it's a treadle. It's not a hand crank. It's a treadle Singer. It's not electric as far as I know. And she said that I can have it. But we don't have anywhere to put it at the moment. But she said whenever I want it, 'tis mine, which is exciting. Good button. What? I'm a good button. Oh, yeah, good button. I was so confused, Sam. Oh, Pamela has a Genome as well. Awesome sauce. My mum replaced mine last year. It's a basic Singer. It's purple. They make purple Singers. The other day, I watched a sewing video, and the woman had a black sewing machine. And I was like, what? Where have I been? Domestic sewing machines, as far as I've ever seen, have been white or sort of off-white. Sometimes with a little off other sort of coloured bits on them, but like just a black sewing machine. And my little goth heart was just like, what? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, a black sewing machine. It was very exciting. I didn't know they existed. Like I used to work for a fashion designer. I worked in the workroom in the sort of the design room, and there was all the sort of the flatbed industrial sewing machines and the overlockers and everything, or sergers, I believe you call them in the States. And they were sort of various colours. There was like, a dull green or a pale blue or a greyish or an off brown or tan, like sort of industrial kind of colours. None of them were particularly pretty, but they're factory machinery and sort of workroom machinery. They're functional. Although I always argue, if something is going to be functional, why not also make it beautiful? I know William Morris was like, things should either be useful or beautiful, and I'm like that meme, that gif from, is it The Emperor's New Groove? I've never watched that cartoon where they're like, both? Yeah, both. That's me. I'm like, why not both? Let's do all the things. But I don't know how to see, says, oh, you don't know how to sew, says Pamela. Well, there's only one way to know how to sew, and honestly, it's just to get going. Although, Rosemary, you said you tried sewing a spread cloth, and yeah, at the beginning is harder than it looks, right? I think did you do some practice lengths first? Because I don't sew on the machine as much as I used to. I do a lot of hand sewing now, and so if I've had a bit of a break from machine sewing, I will just get scrap fabrics and just, depending on what I'm looking at sewing, if I'm, going to be hemming something, I'll just have a few practice hems. If I'm going to be doing sort of lots of long running stitches, I'll do lots of long straight seams and just practice my curves before getting back onto the thing I'm actually sewing. And I'm someone who's been sewing, like using sewing machines since I was like 14 or 15. on and off, you know, so I think it behooves us to just get a little bit of practice in before we go on to the actual thing. You're impatient. Yeah, do you know what? I'm a really impatient person as well, Rosemary, but I have definitely learned through my training and my career in fashion and, you know, working in a workroom that sometimes you need to, especially with hands. I used to hate hand sewing and now I love it. It just cracks me up. I was too impatient. I was like, if you can use the sewing machine, why would you hand sew? It takes too long. But now, you know, I've learned the art of slowing down when it comes to sewing. It's like when I see people that do you know, YouTube videos where they're sewing a garment and they don't make a toile or a muslin or a mock-up, it gets called a lot in the home sewing world, I guess. In the fashion industry, it's usually called a toile. And people don't do toiles, and you're actually giving yourself more work. Always make a toile, always do a practice run, because it will save you time in the long run. It's the same as a makeup artist. I'm always, the prep of someone's skin and the base is always so important, because if you get the base right, the rest of the makeup's going to go on far better and it's going to look better. Same with doing the hairstyling. I want to make sure if I'm setting the hair in like vintage curls, I'm making sure that I am setting those curls and giving them, you know, all the prep, all the sort of, you know, whatever preparation sprays and things that I'm putting in the hair, or mousse or whatever it is that I'm using, and then I'm making sure that I'm taking the time to form the curl properly, roll it back up, pin it in, make sure it's completely cool before I'm unpinning those, if it's hot curls, making sure they're completely cooled down before I'm undoing them, because ultimately, you know, that patience and that prep will save you time in the long run, and you're going to get a better finish, right? Always. I want to make a purple flag garland. Oh, cute. I love making garlands. I make them on occasion for people, for like presents. I'm quite fond of a garland, or like a string. I'm actually looking up at a garland of bats that I made last Halloween. But they're like foam shape bats. They're not sewn bats. I'm like, I should make them out of felt, but then I'm like, am I going to really spend all that time making my own one for myself? I did want to make spooky garlands for my Halloween collection, but I ran out of time and I ran out of energy. Maybe next year. Well done, woman, for using the internet towards something so intelligent. I really honor you people. Huh? Thank you. I do watch sewing machine videos. I'm working on French seams. Oh, lovely. I love a good French seam. I love how neat and tidy they just make everything. Yeah. Oh, hello, Laurie. You're right, my dear. Like Simon's like, what's going on? He's all this sewing chat. I don't know. And Ingrid, hello. Lovely to see you. Long time no see. Linda says it was what was this? It was a cute and two-toned pink. What was two-toned? Oh, you guys saw an adorable pink singer yesterday. Oh, a pink singer as well. God, they're coming in all sorts of colours. That's cool. The thread bunched up in places, says Rosemary. So maybe that was, you need to obviously, that's the thing, whatever you're sewing, if it's like a double layer, imagine if it's a spread cloth, you're doing like a front fabric and then a backing fabric. Take a little piece of both fabrics and do some practice runs, but also so you can check your thread length and your stitch length, and your thread, the tension of your thread, so it's not pulling at the top or the bottom. Do not mess with the bottom tension or the bobbin tension, because that's a nightmare. But you know, just adjust the tension on the top. And just stitch a few sort of straight stitches until you get what looks and feels right. And go slowly. If your machine foot, where's my sewing machine foot? I think my sewing machine foot's in the wardrobe. But if some sewing machine foots have like a slow and a fast switch on them, so mine's got a switch on it, so I can deliberately have it going, so I can't like speed sew. And yeah, and just go slowly. Take your time. Like a spread cloth is not huge. Even if you go slowly, Rosemary, it's not going to take you a huge amount of time. And press your seam. Pre-wash your fabric. Press your seams. Press your fabric. Yeah, wash your fabric. Press your fabric before cutting anything. If you're sewing garments or anything that needs to fit around anything, make a toile or a mock-up. And when you're during sewing, press your seams again, because you'll get a much better finish. Everything's going to look so much nicer. So, you know, anyway, it's not something I often talk about on this channel, is it? Yeah. Can you read embroidery notation from books and magazines and reproduce it in needlework? What do you mean by notation? Embroidery notation. I don't do a lot of sort of decorative needlework. It's something I would like to do a little bit more of whenever I have the time, she says. But yeah, I do enjoy like a good embroidery hoop, but I always end up just, I don't know, it's not something I get time to do. And also when I'm sewing stuff to sell, like to sew hand embroidered hoops and things, it gets very, very pricey. So a lot of the embroidery artists that I follow that make embroidery hoops to sell, obviously they're quite pricey because it's hours and hours and hours of work. It's essentially art in thread. So I learned pressing seams when I did my first sewing project. Oddly, making a kimono was easier than a square. That is funny. I'm making Halloween chili. My Halloween is chili, cider, and old-fashioned donuts. What? How are you having chili with cider and donuts? Cider and donuts in the chili? Oh, your Halloween is chili. So I thought you meant your Halloween chili. It has cider and old-fashioned donuts in it. And I'm just like, that doesn't sound right. But that sounds good. I fucking love donuts so much. I love donuts so much. Oh my God. Oh, those crosses and stuff for backrests and tablecloths. Yeah, no, that's not really my bag for like doing stuff for like tablecloths and backrests. I think that's obviously a very sort of old-fashioned thing. I guess I do see modern embroidery artists sort of bucking the trend and doing sort of sassy versions of those with like swearing on them and stuff. But it was just quite fun. But yeah, oh hey Kim, you snuck in there. Anyway, I'm supposed to be sewing. I've sewn one charm on in 22 minutes. Well, this is definitely slower than it usually is, but I'm having more fun than I would be just sitting here on my cheesy lonesome doing it. So there's that. Right, so that's done. See, so we have one charm attached, so then it'll just be the ribbon. Oh, do you know what though? I will also need to cut the hearts. Cut the hearts. That sounds more hardcore and creepy than it actually is. Cut out the wee. Oh shit! The stuff's falling everywhere. Where is it? I'll need to cut out. So I've got some. So because I've got like the dark. I don't know. I'm just sharing my thought process when I make these pouches. So I've got this lovely violet purple and the fuchsia and this lilac. So what I'm going to do is to pull a bit more of the lilac in, because you've got the lilac ribbon. Is the heart that I'm going to put over that inside will be lilac. Okay. Just got a loose thread. Should probably trim the loose thread. No one wants the loose thread. So then I freehand cut the little heart as well. And sometimes it goes wonky and I have to do like it several times because I'm very fussy about the things I make. They have to be just so. Just so, haha. S-E-W. If you do something for Boris Johnson with his name in it, turn up at number 10, do you think he would receive the gift? No, I don't. The only thing I'd want to give Boris Johnson is a swift kick to the fucking gonads, honestly. I cannot with that useless cretin. Well, that wasn't too bad for a first go. Just tidy that little bumpy bit up there. Oh, little heart. There we go. I bought a sewing machine to make Roman blinds. Oh, like doing like drapes and blinds and all that jazz. That's like, that looks hardcore. Even I'm like, I'm eating a cookie while watching. Oh my God, you are totally multitasking, Laurie. Well done on the watching, typing, and eating. That's quite impressive. Maybe this time I'll actually get my caliber. Oh, Pamela, I will be doing a drop on Sunday, the 7th of November. I'll have a bunch. And then it'll be 2 weeks again. And then I'm going to try to do drops 1 week apart for Christmas. So the first Christmas drop will be on Sunday, the 21st of November, I believe. I'm going to try and do 3 or 4 Christmas drops. And the Christmas stuff I will have by Univeral. I will be doing a Christmas collection. So there will be pouches with Christmas theme. Again, I'm not going to be showing or talking too much about that because we haven't had Halloween yet and we have to respect the spooky season. But there will also be regular pouches going in as well, because I know that people have said that they want to like buy some for presents for people, or if they just want regular ones for themselves. So it'll be a mixed bag. If I want it done right, I send fabric to my mum. She's making curtains right now. Amazing. My mum can't sew for toffee, bless her. It's not really her bag. My mum's not a very sort of mum. Like, she's not really into sewing. She doesn't do crafting. She doesn't cook or bake. She's never been a cook or a baker, you know. So she was a cool mum. She was a young, like, hip, cool mum. She wasn't like a mum when I was a kid. I taught myself to cook and sew. Hello, Dead Zone. Oh, Laurie's like, so many Kelly bags. I have another one that's cut out, but I ran out of the black embroidery floss, so I couldn't sew it up. So I ordered some more black embroidery floss, which should turn up next week. But including that one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then I've got a box full ready to rock and oral. Dealer's choice. Here. I also have loads of accessories. Shameless self-plug. No one with the little Halloween spooky ghosties. Bleeding, oozing hearts. Heart dangly earrings. These are drop dangle earrings. They're just, I pin them so they don't, whoop. I've got little coffin brooches, pins, and pastel goth like brooches, coffin brooches. So these are all still available in my shop. Coffin earrings, like the ones that I made for myself as well. I have a pair of these that I wear quite a bit. So yeah, so I will be making more things other than, thank you, Deanne. I'll be making things other than pouches again, because yeah, I do like making the pouches. How long does it take to make a Patero bag? I have tried to work that out. I think from beginning to end, if I'm not rushing, because I try not to rush, if I'm cutting it out, picking the colors, cutting it out, stitching it together, applying the charm, cutting out the heart, applying the ribbon, applying the heart, probably at least an hour and a half. So yeah, by the time, that's what I mean with like selling my pouches, by the time you take out the cost of materials, the fees from Etsy, and then yeah, divide that up, it works out. Yeah. Where's Joey? Oh, hello, Joey. Sorry, I just saw I saw Simon saying, hey, Joey. Birthday. Who's Pamela's birthday? When is it your birthday, Pamela? Rosemary's mum is into making dolls now. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. November 7th is my birthday, so wish me luck, says Pamela. Oh, do you know what? It's also mine and my husband's first original anniversary, our first kiss anniversary. We celebrate both anniversaries. We celebrate our first kiss anniversary, which is the 7th of November, and we celebrate our wedding anniversary, which is the 16th of April. But yeah, so where are you based, Pamela? Are you You have your chili over noodles. Is that like spaghetti or linguine, or is that like actual noodles? But yeah, Rosemary, your mum, what kind of dolls does your mum make? Because like dolls do kind of like freak me out a bit. It depends on the doll, actually. Like, you know, like plastic faced kind of like dolls, porcelain dolls, and like some Raggedy Ann dolls creep me out. Like I follow a couple of artists that like make felt dolls, but they're like little creatures. I don't have a problem with them, but I think it's because there's not that uncanny valley. They're not trying to look like a human. I think that's probably why. North Carolina and spaghetti. See, we don't call spaghetti noodles. That confuses us Brits. We just call East Asian noodles, like actual noodles, like ramen and udon and like pad thai, like flat rice noodles, all that. We call them noodles. And then the pasta, we just call it pasta, or we call it spaghetti or linguine or whatever the pasta is. So yeah, it always throws me off when someone goes, I had spaghetti with noodles. I'm like, why would you do that? And then I realize they mean like, I have chili with noodles, and I realize they mean, yeah, spaghetti pasta. I met my husband on the 11th of 11th, 85. He's not into all the anniversaries, lol. I am. Aww. See, I met my husband a few years before we ever started dating. We were friends beforehand. But yeah, our first kiss anniversary we always celebrate, because before we ever got married, what would our anniversary be? You know what I mean? So that was the anniversary we celebrated, and then we got married, and then we're like, oh, now we have two, and then we were like, let's just do both, because life is short and you should just take as many chances to celebrate and give each other gifts and enjoy cake as possible. Surely. Mostly these days they have porcelain body parts, and she's, oh God, no. See that reaction, that is, sorry. that's an involuntary reaction. Yeah, okay, I can't. Yeah, even just thinking about it, even just reading it freaks me out. Isn't that funny? Rosemary. She made Cabbage Patch style dolls when we were kids. They were all fabric. Oh my goodness. I had a Cabbage Patch doll, and her official name, I think, was Petunia. Pet. Don't know what happened to it. It's probably still at my mum's house somewhere in a box, in a cupboard somewhere. Gross. Creepy. Anyone else creeped out by dolls? Perfect for spooky season though, I guess. Hey. Spooky. Married on the 10th of the 5th. Or is this the other? No, hang on. Which way round is this? Because I would read that as the 10th of May, 1985. Met at age 14. Oh my God. The thought of like marrying the person that I met at 14 just blows my mind, because like I was a child, essentially. Certain dolls are very creepy. Hey, Stephanie, saving it for my next pug. You'll say, oh, the name Petunia. Oh, my goodness. Dogs rule. I don't know where Dr. Nomi is. She's clearly still downstairs with my husband. Meow. So I've got this lovely pumpkin, this burnt orange with this pink, candy pink, and very soft mint green thread and ribbon. This is like a ticking. It's showing up really washed out on the video, but it's actually, and this was inspired by the Moon Baby tarot. So this is one of my Moon Baby decks. So I've got Moon Baby bags. So I've got a moon charm. So it's all the colors of the Moon Baby. I've got a couple of Moon Baby ones. This one was inspired by the Moon Baby as well. It's chocolate with very pale turquoise blue, and the baby pink that matches the edging on the deck. And then there was another, I believe I did another Moon Baby one. Was it this one? Which one was it? No, it was not this one. I feel like I did another Moon Baby one. I think I did 3 Moon Baby inspired. Obviously, you can put whatever deck in it you want, but the inspiration came. Yeah, it was this one. This is Moon Baby. So it's like mint green, lilac, and there's the soft pink that matches the deck, and another different. They all have different moon charms. So, yeah. Hey, Lou, you all right, my dear? Yours is so well behaved. I never seem to make it through a live or video without dogs whining. Nomi's pretty chill. She'll be 9 in January. She's always been a pretty, for the most part, pretty chill dog. She has her moments where she'll like sit down here and grumble at me because she wants to go out. But for the most part, because my husband's been working from home all this time, she just wants to hang out with him because he's clearly her favorite. I'm not bitter. I just did all the training and all the hard work, and then he reaps all the benefits of the cuteness. Like, it's definitely gotten more intense since he started working from home. She used to spend more time with me when it was just me and her, obviously. So, there you go. That's dogs for you. There is like a fly that just like keeps whizzing around my head and it's really annoying. Go away, fly. Read the room. No one wants you here. I have a ventriloquist doll called Charlie. Oh my God. He has orange wild hair. Oh, ventriloquist dolls freak me out as well. What's this about heartwarming, Laurie? Or about meeting at some dolls are creepy, but all of hers are so sweet. Yeah, but it's probably because your mum's made them. They're probably you probably have nice associations with them. Hey Joe, all right, my dear. I was sleeping in cars when I was 14. It wasn't very good. Oh my goodness, Laurie, that doesn't sound like the ideal circumstances to be in at any time, let alone at 14. I'm so sorry. I'm assuming things are better now. I hope. What's creepy? Oh, what ventriloquist dolls, Rosemary? Is that what you were commenting on? So does anyone have any plans for Halloween? Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. I'm probably going to watch spooky films or film. So I'm looking forward to that. I've basically been making sure I watch at least one spooky thing every day through Halloween, through October, which isn't much different to my regular life, honestly. But I've made like a conscious effort to watch at least one definitely spooky or horror or creepy thing a day. Just to, keep my spook tank nice and full and topped up for the rest of the year before Christmas kicks in and everyone starts getting all twee and totes emotion. And everyone starts talking about the John Lewis advert. I never watched the John Lewis advert. People are always talking about it. But because I don't watch TV, I don't ever get to see it. And I'm quite frankly not that bothered. Oh, wow, there's loads of chats. Flies give me a complex. Yeah, I don't like flies. Working at home, enjoying watching the chat. Yeah, that's nice. That's good, Lou. Things are better. I am glad to hear it. My movie for Halloween is Lady in White. Ooh, I don't think I've seen that for a very long time. Lady in White. I don't know what I'm going to be watching yet. I think it will just be like one of my... Because there are films that I watch every October and a couple of them I haven't watched yet. So I think it's a toss-up between watching something familiar or watching something I've not seen before. But depending on what time me and my husband sit down to watch, we might be able to squeeze 2 films in because it is a Sunday this year. So I guess we could watch something earlier in the late afternoon, early evening, and then like make dinner and then watch something else. I guess. But yeah. Oh my God, this sewing whilst talking is, yeah, definitely more difficult than sewing whilst listening. I don't know how and I keep losing my thread out of the eye of my needle because I'm distracted. And I've been live for 40 minutes and I still haven't sewn on 2 whole. So I'm going to conclude this experiment an epic fail on the helping me to get sewing done. So yeah, I've definitely confirmed once and for all that sewing and talking is not doable for me. I'm going to finish sewing this one on and then I'm probably going to wrap this chat up so that I can actually finish sewing pouches charms onto the remaining 16 pouches. Can you imagine it's taking me 40 minutes to do 2? Work that out. It'll just take me forever. Like, usually by now I would have done half the pouches by now, I think. So, oh well, it was nice to have a chat with people. That's a plus. So, yeah. I don't know when I'll next be going live. Who knows? I might go live tomorrow. I might not. I might feel like procrastinating tomorrow. We'll see. Who knows? The more work I have to do, the more lives I make, because procrastinating. I'm my own best enemy. So let's just get this last little bit of the... There we go. This thread matches this pumpkin, this roast pumpkin. Making myself hungry. This burnt orange roast pumpkin coloured pouch perfectly. Roast pumpkin pouch perfectly. Dear me. Let's see if anyone else has said what they're doing for the Halloweens. My son gets to go trick or treat. Oh, hang on, that jumped up. My son gets to go trick-or-treating at houses this year for the first... Oh, cute! With a mask that I got to match his costume. That is cute. So that's exciting. I'll be handing out candy, which I love. Awesome! I will bite the bullet and watch Alien. Stephanie, that is one of my favourite films in the world. Alongside Aliens, I feel like Aliens is eminently more watchable because it clips along a bit more a quicker pace. And we've already been introduced to Ripley, who is like my numero uno film icon of all time, ever. But yeah, Alien. I watched that when I was like 8 or 9, and it made a lifelong Alien franchise film out of me. Anyway, I love. Like, Aliens is straight up a comfort watch film for me. I love it. I'm nervous about letting the kids trick or treat, going to hand out candy with tongs. Why are you nervous? Oh, because of Kafifi. Spook tank. Oh yeah, well, you know, spook tank. What else could I call it? A spook tank does sound like a euphemism though, doesn't it? I guess. Spook tank. If it makes you feel any better though, Lou, if it's to do with like transmission of germs regarding the candy, the sweets, the transmission of COVID via fomites, that is via surface, it has been proven to be incredibly minimal, which is why scientists get annoyed with the idea of this whole hygiene theatre where you see places going, we've disinfected everything and wiped down and blah, 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 because actually what's more important is actually masking, distancing, limiting capacity, and then ventilation and filtration. All of those things together are way more important and contribute far more to transmission than fomites, than surface transmission. So yeah, and then yeah, you could always just clean everything if you're really worried, and then just make sure that you're all wearing masks, preferably N95 and up, because COVID is airborne, and fabric masks and surgical masks will help against droplets, but because COVID is airborne, you will need something a bit more hardcore to actually filter out any molecules that are like to 0.3, 0.2 parts per million ppm. So I thought you were at Becca's because of the chat yesterday. Say hi to her from me. Did you know she lives in the same town as some of my cousins? Oh, that's cool, Lou. I'm about to finish sewing masks, says Stephanie. Hello, Gerald. Hello. I love the movie Alien, says Gerald. Do you know what? It's so good, isn't it, Gerald? And also because it's so quotable, right? There's so many good lines in that film. So many. It's just so quotable. And Gerald is a fellow MST3K fan, so that's cool. I've been watching a lot of riff tracks actually this month, a lot of the spooky riff tracks. What did I watch? I watched was it a riff? No, it wasn't a live one. It was the what was it? Something Zombies the other night, and then we watched. Oh my god! But it's just too. I just love it. It's just too funny. I got to see, I think I told you, didn't I, Gerald? I got to see an MST3K reunion show live with all of them, with Mike, Joel, Kevin, and what's his name? I always forget one of them. And yeah, I got to see them live. That was so much fun. They're very funny in real life. And we watched Plan 9 from Outer Space. I want to watch, but I'm scared, Hereditary. I went to see Hereditary at the cinema, and there's this one scene. Don't give it away if you've seen this, folks. But if you know, you know. And I legit couldn't stop laughing because I just thought it was just too ridiculous. But then the other people that were in the cinema looked at me like I was a very scary person to be around. But yeah, I actually preferred Midsummer. I know that's the same director. I actually did prefer Midsummer. I love that. I just love that like folkish horror though. That's more my bag. Although I do think Hereditary was really good, and I think Toni Collette was chef's kiss in it. But I feel like it. This is the problem with a lot of horror films. I find that they're really good at ramping up a certain level, and then they get to like the last 30 minutes, and they like shit the bed. They just unravel and fall apart, and they just jump the shark, and they ruin all the work they've done previously. I feel like Hereditary, but at the end of it, I was like, huh, okay, like at the end. But up until it was so creepy and so sort of tight and unnerving for so long, and then it just lost it. The only film I feel like really that I've watched recently that pays, recently in the last few years, that really worked with ratcheting that tension and paying off in a really good way was The Witch, which was one of Robert Eggers's films. I watched The Lighthouse finally at the weekend. Boy, that was a ride. Tarot Tatson 2. Hello, my curtained off porch for me this year. Donations are going to local cancer support services. That is awesome. Good for you. Alien Isolation is awesome. The game, oh my god, that game, that properly terrifies me. That game. See, the film, fine. The game, no. There's a game that I used to play with an ex of mine like 20 years ago called Project Butterfly, and it was based off of it's where you've got the camera. It was a PlayStation game, and you have to take pictures to capture the ghosts. It's a Japanese film. It's Japanese. I think it was Japanese. I don't think it was Korean. I'm pretty sure it was Japanese. Oh my god, it was just the most terrifying thing. It was so scary that I struggled to play it. In the end, I ended up having to sit and watch my boyfriend at the time play it, which before YouTube even existed, I was watching game walkthroughs before, because people go, why would you watch someone playing? But when it was a really scary game, I would let my partner play, and I would enjoy watching it. And the same when me and my sister were kids. Like, I'm the older sibling, but my sister was a lot braver than me, just generally. And she, when we get to really really tough bits in certain games, I'd be like, you play it. And I'd just watch. So yeah, hope you make your way to Nottingham so I can show you around. What's this? I'm worried about COVID. But we're wearing masks. That's good. So we're near Oxford. Spring 2023. Ooh, meow meow meow. Oh, I'm getting really dehydrated. I have seen Alien before, all of them, but Alien always gives me the willies. I agree. Aliens has a lot more going on, but I cannot watch the. Oh, I can. Okay. I mean, yeah, that is very when Bishop is crawling through that pipe, and he's like, "Oh, it's only half a mile or something." I'm again, making me think of that Nutty Putty cave incident that ended up getting the caves sealed shut forever. Just no, but he's an AI. He doesn't care because he doesn't have that fear response, right? Because he's an AI. You watch Midnight Mass, yay! Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it. I know loads of people didn't. They said there's lots of slow bits and monologuing. But again, I love me some slow bits and monologuing. Like I said, I'm a fan of The Witch. I am the pretty thing that lives in the house. I really enjoy things like The Others, really slow, creeping films. I really enjoyed the other two Mike Flanagan Netflix shows, The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. I really enjoyed both of those. And this was quite a different sort of setting, moving away from the haunting of kind of situation and giving us a different feel. And I really enjoyed it. I guess maybe because my, the Irish side of my family are Catholic, and maybe that kind of like that whole sort of being rooted in Catholicism and the ideas of faith and blind faith and credulity and the lengths that people will go to with regards to following a religion. Like I found that how cult mentality can very quickly be engendered within a group of people, especially a small close-knit community. I really enjoyed all of that. I did think that ending, I was a bit like, those that know will know, like there were ways that people could have avoided what happened at the end, but it is what it is. I would love an MST3K of aliens. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Like two of my favorite worlds colliding. That would be so good. Midsummer is your viewing for tonight. Oh, awesome. I really enjoy it. I just love that creeping thing. And I really like what they've done with the soundtrack, which is quite similar to what they did the soundtrack for like The Witch, where it's a lot of choral singing, a discordant choral singing in the place of actual sort of musical instruments in a lot of the parts, and that's very unsettling. I really enjoyed it. But do you know what? I'd had so many people going, "Oh, Midsummer was rubbish," that so when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, well, I guess maybe because my expectations were low." But no, I genuinely like enjoyed it. Dead Space was a good game. I've never played Dead Space. I watched The Conjuring last week for the first time. I jumped out my seat 3 times. I went to see that at the cinema as well. Again, that's another one. It's so beautifully filmed, and so the house is beautiful. The acting's really great, but it's one of those again where it starts off so well and then it just like falls apart and goes Cocoa for Cocoa Puff. Was it Cocoa? No, Cocoa for Coconuts? Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs? No, I don't know. It just goes bananas, and it jumps the shark, and I'm like, no, you set up all of that like groundwork, and then you just throw all this really ridiculous stuff in it, and it like ruins it, and it just annoys me. I don't know. And like James Wan with his like fucking Conjuring franchise, where they're like 12 million bloody films. I saw a bunch of them at the cinema, but I've given up. Because they're all much a muchness. I don't like the Warrens. The Warrens are highly problematic. I think they were charlatans. They were also problematic. Ed Warren was an abuser. There's like a whole back history that people don't seem to know about. Like they had like a teenager living with. It was a whole thing. The Warrens are creepy and charlatans and creepy. So, and the films massively over exaggerate their involvement in all the cases. So the Perrins, is it Angela Perrin or Alison Perrin? I can't remember her name. It begins with an A. I think it's Angela Perrin, the one that wrote the book about the Conjuring situation, the Conjuring haunting. She actually said the Warrens were pissed her parents off, and they were actually asked to leave, and they were very briefly involved in the case. The same with the one where they did the Enfield haunting. The Enfield haunting is close to my heart. Being a kid growing up hearing about that story, you know, to see the Warrens like be made to be like a massive player in that, when they were actually only involved, they came over to the UK once the whole thing had pretty much blown over and just sort of poked around a little bit. They weren't involved in the case at all. Like it just really winds me up that they just get so much. And also it's making people like endear this really problematic couple to the general population. Like, no, don't do that. The Warrens suck. On saying that, I heard everyone I know who likes horror go, "Oh, The Nun was rubbish," and I was like, do you know what? Sometimes I like watching, I enjoy B movies, which is why I like MST3K. Right, I like watching shit films, but you get the added plus of a bunch of comedians riffing over the top of it to make it funnier. So it sort of takes the sting out of it a little bit. But I was like, you know what? Couple of months, I don't know when it was, like a few months ago, I was like, I'm just going to watch The Nun because it had come up on like Netflix or whatever. But I think again, because the bar was so low in my mind, I genuinely enjoyed it. And I think it's my favorite out of all the like James Wan like Conjuring franchise. Maybe also because the fucking Warrens weren't in it. Actually, tell a lie. They were in at the beginning and at the end, at like, you know, with regards to like bookending it, but they weren't a part of the main story, which I appreciate. Anyway, I've been chatting for ages about horror films. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Cuckoo for Cocoa. Yeah, I usually say it. I say it all the time, but for some reason, when I said it out loud just then, it didn't sound right. Did you ever do that? Like, do you ever sometimes like write out a word, or you say a word so many times it loses all meaning, and then it suddenly doesn't sound right, or it doesn't look right written down? That's what I think a lot about Stephen King novels. The build-up is amazing, but the sooner or later you have to show the monster, and it is never as good as the build-up, right? I might watch them or Us or both of them. Them is that the TV show that's on Prime, because I've got that saved to my watch list. I watched Us a couple of months ago. I really enjoyed that. Plot holes everywhere, but I just let it go because as a film and as a social commentary, I found it really interesting. But then I really enjoyed Get Out as well. So, you know, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that's a classic. Yeah. That's because a lot of the younger audience today wants slasher blood and gore. But you say that, Simon, but then look where the slasher originated from. The 70s was the absolute pinnacle of the slasher film. And if you look through the 80s, you know, you've got the Halloween franchise and loads of slasher films and like gore with like the Evil Dead. It's always been there, always. You know, and you know, the Wicker Man, what was that, the 70s? So there's always been those genres. There's always been like folk horror, there's always been slashers, there's always been ghost stories, there's always been like the camp comedy horrors, like you've got your Carry On Screaming, which is like the best Carry On film, obviously. So all of those genres, the gothic horror, which is one of my all-time favorite genres. This fly, I swear to God, stop it. I will not hurt it, but it is really getting on my tits. I might try and let it out the window when I'm finished chatting bollocks at you. Yeah, all those subgenres have always been there. Oh, you know what? I need to watch Crimson Peak again. Piss off, fly. A friend of mine used to host B-movie parties in his backyard and project 16mm. Oh my God, on a blanket, he grouped them by theme. Oh my God, that is so cool. I love it. I still watch The Munsters. Oh my God, The Munsters. The Munsters has one of the best theme songs of any TV show ever, bar none. Fight me. For anyone that disagrees, honestly, it's such a tune. It's such a great little, it's got that like surf vibes, it's got the spooky like psychobilly vibes. I love it. It's so good. Such a tune. Remove the comment. Remove what comment? I liked Midnight Mass. Yeah, the dog part. Oh, hey Heather, you're right, my dear. The dog part, yes. Anna, hello Anna. Pamela enjoyed Midnight Mass. That's cool. I watched a movie called Spell. It freaked me out. I'm not saying it was good, but scary. Yeah. Like I think I've watched so many horror films in my life that I think that it's difficult to either impress me, genuinely frighten me, or like intrigue me in any way, because I know the tropes, I know the beat, I know the points that they're usually trying to hit. So when something is off the beaten path and a bit unnerving or a bit slow, like I enjoy a slow burn, like, and I think that's why I enjoyed like The Witch. I didn't know what I was getting in for. And also I think a lot of the problem is the way that films are advertised and marketed. A lot of the time the director doesn't have control over the way that a film is marketed, especially with regards to the trailer. Now, depending on the kind of cachet you have as a director, you may be able to sign off. So for example, James Gunn, who directed the Guardians of the Galaxy films and is doing the third one, Mixtape Volume 3, and has recently done the sort of reboot slash sequel of the Suicide Squad. He gets his final sign off on all trailers, because a trailer can make or break a film. Two spooky films that I can give as examples is the Ghostbusters Reboot with the all-women cast. The trailer completely missold it and made it look terrible. So I went to the cinema to see it with a group of friends, and I was just going because it was a group of about, I don't know, 8 or 9 of us, a bunch of people I hadn't seen for ages. We'd gone for dinner beforehand. It was just at my local cinema. And I just wanted to go just because I wanted to hang out with my friends and go see a film. And I hadn't done that for a really long time. So I was going in with really low expectations because I had watched the trailer and I wasn't actually that bothered about it. And I think, again, because I sort of, it'd been a couple of months since I'd watched the trailer, and I'd heard so many people slamming it. I really enjoyed it. Apparently, the director's cut is better because it gives more context for Kevin. Because in the theatrical release, he's like desperate to be a Ghostbuster, and he shows up at the end wanting to be a Ghostbuster, and it felt a bit left of field, like it felt like it came out of nowhere. But apparently, in the director's cut, he gets more screen time. And I think Chris Hemsworth, he's always been funny as Thor, but I feel like him doing that particular film really helped him like tap into his like comedy chops. And then the way that Taika Waititi directs, where he's very sort of fast and loose, and he has a lot of ad-libbing and allows a lot of play on set. With Thor Ragnarok, I feel like that you can really see the difference in Hemsworth's performance as Thor from the first 2 films to that one. He's really hit his stride as the character. You know, he was the same as all the other MCU big players. He was going to be 3 and done, you know, like Cap and Iron Man and so on. And he'd enjoyed doing Love and Thunder. He enjoyed doing Ragnarok so much with that particular team and with that particular director that he said, "Hey, I'm up for doing more," which is how they're doing Thor: Love and Thunder with Taika Waititi and with the original crew, which is amazing. So that was a film that got missold via the trailer. Another film I can think of, a film I absolutely love, and that is Crimson Peak. And this is a problem that is often found with Gothic horror. A lot of execs, a lot of studios, they don't know how to advertise Gothic horror. And so the trailers, the way that Crimson Peak was promoted, it was really promoted as a like a real like creepy horror ghost story, when in fact it's a Gothic horror. It's a lot more slow, it's a lot more creeping, it's a lot more atmospheric, and ultimately the things that are more important is the love story. So at the beginning of the film, I'm not giving anything away, Edie says, Edith, she says, this is a ghost story, or was it a love story with ghosts in it or something? The ghosts are almost incidental to the actual love story. And in those films, the horror isn't the ghosts or whatever might be lurking in the background. The horror is what people do, what humans are capable of. I'd say that's also the same with Mike Flanagan with The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass. It's more there are ghosts and creepy things, but ultimately the most terrifying things in those shows are the things that humans do to themselves and to one another, including people that they care about very much. And I think that's a really interesting, and that ultimately Gothic horror, that's more what that's about. I'm trying to think another film that got completely shafted with the trailer and with the way it was marketed, Jennifer's Body with Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried. That was written by the same writer who did Juno, starring Elliot Page, and that film was meant to be about the relationship between Jennifer and needy Anita, and they decided that they were going to market it all off of Megan Fox being sexy, and they were going to appeal to teenage boys and young men, 20-something men. But that's not what the film is about. You can tell that film is written and directed by women by the way that Megan Fox is filmed, even when she's naked, the way that the camera moves. It is devoid of male gaze. And when they did test screenings of Jennifer's Body, you could write your like comments, and they screened it to loads of young men and teenagers. and like some of the comments were things like needs more boobs spelt BEWB, like, you know, like real. And so it flopped because it was marketed as something and it's not. And I felt like I only watched that film this year. I've since watched it twice in the last 2 months, and I feel like I was robbed of a really good feminist horror purely because a studio decided to try and promote it to people that it wasn't even particularly made for, and then like it got slammed, and when in fact it's actually a really good film, and yeah, a really good feminist horror. Go watch Jennifer's Body. It's great, and it's very darkly funny. If you like dark humor, like I got my husband is terrified of scary films. He doesn't watch like I watch all the really scary shit on my own because he just can't. He managed it. So if it's got like, it's like if Shaun of the Dead, that kind of dark humor of Shaun of the Dead, but then more of the creep of like, I'm trying to think of something else a bit darker on top for like the gore and stuff. Anyway, I am just going at it. Oh my God. Chatting, for this or that, the Monsters. They're doing a new Monsters. Oh yeah, I saw that Rob Zombie's doing a new reboot of the Monsters. We shall see. Amanda G, hello. I agreed about the Monsters. I just learned a lot about the actor who played Lurch. It was very intriguing. Oh, okay. Hey Tony, you're right. I saw Mama for the first time the other day, and it is now my favorite. So as Creep Factor, it was on Hulu and it's a Guillermo. Do you know what? Yeah, Mama is a really, really good film. I really enjoyed that as well. Nice and creepy. Isn't it Nicola Costa Walder Costa in it? The one that plays Jamie Lannister. He's in it, isn't he? As the dad. I just love Guillermo del Toro. The only Guillermo del Toro films I haven't seen are The Shape of Water. And there's one other one. I've seen all his Spanish films. Yeah, I do. I love a bit of Guillermo myself. And hello, Ellie. November 19th, Ghostbusters Afterlife being released actually looks pretty good. Yeah, I've heard so many people. I saw the original trailers they put out a couple of years ago. I haven't watched any of the new ones. I've seen so many people like bitch and moan about it, but I will just if this is the thing, if I know I want to watch a film, I refuse to watch the trailer because I know that it could be completely mismarketed, and I just want to go in with my own like just whatever. Like I never watch the trailers for Marvel films because I don't want stuff to be given away. Because sometimes you're like with the comedies and with horrors, they show all of the best jokes in a comedy film, or they show all of the scares in a horror film. I'm like, well, what was the point of that? It really annoys me. You do know a lot about horror movies. It's kind of like an obsession of mine. Not an obsession. It's one of my pleasures in life is watching spooky, creepy films. I mean, hashtag goth life, right? Like, I come from a line of women that enjoy horror films. My grandmother loves horror films. My mum loves horror films. I love horror films. My sister loves horror films. The early noughties was a lot. There was a lot of like swapping horror film DVDs and sharing DVDs and going, oh, watch this one. Oh, you watch this one. It's very funny when your grandmother hands over 3 DVDs to you, goes, oh, darling, when you watch that one there's got lots of blood in that one, so just be careful. And she'll be like, oh, there's a bit of possession in that one. You might like that one. She gets her head chopped off. I'm like, don't tell me. Oh, my husband's saying he's going off to Clank. He's going off to his cycling to the studio. Okay, my darling. I'm just saying bye. Have a good time. Yeah. I'm going to be signing off now anyway. Bye. Just saying goodbye to my husband. He's just cycling to his recording studio just to tidy up and sort some stuff out there. Probably won't be back until the early hours. Insidious 3 left me sat on the edge of the sofa waiting for Mister to come home so I could go pee in our creepy haunted bathroom. Oh, I can't watch horrors on my own. My hubby laughs at me. My poor little dog feeds off my fear and runs out the kitchen. Oh no. Oh, I just watch them on my own. I watched Jennifer's Body the first time on my own. That's not scary though. It's just kind of a bit creepy. I avoided it due to, yeah, exactly, Stephanie. You would never know, right? And it is actually written by women, directed by women, starring women, about women. Great commentary, great feminist commentary in that. and it's fucking funny and it's creepy. Like, it's literally gone on my top 10 like best horror films of all time after watching it this year. I like Asian horror too, as far as scary movies go. They make. Do you know what, Ali? It's so right. When I was younger, I watched so many of, like, it was branded as Tartan Asia Extreme or Asian Tartan Asia Extreme films. So there was, like, you know, like J horror and like South Korean horror. So like A Tale of Two Sisters, the original like Ju-on, you know, oh god, what was the original, like, all of those originals are so much better than any of the remakes, like The Dark Water. All the American remakes like just suck ass compared to the original, like, Asian versions, obviously. Korean horror is, yeah, it's pretty. And then there's like the Korean, like, sort of it's not so much horror as in like what's the word, it's not so much supernatural horror as like body horror. So things like Old Boy, Audition, Lady Vengeance. I went to see Lady Vengeance at the cinema, actually, in Soho. That was great. It was 3 p.m. in the afternoon. New Dark Bungalow with some eerie films. Oh no, bless you, Tony. I just read about where it is amazing that this has not been highlighted more, right, Elaine? Probably because of profits that could be lost in the film industry. It is horrendous, disgusting. You know, even the whole thing with the Amityville horror, it was admitted that it was made up. It was all made up. Not the original murders. That happened. That's still creepy, because how did that guy go around killing people with, like, without waking the rest of the family up? Like, that just blows my mind. But the haunting bit with the Lutzes, that was all made up. It was all made up, and the Warrens were party to it. So my mum loved horror books and films too, says Heather. Are you talking about the Mormon Warrens? Are they Mormon? I don't know. I thought they were Catholic. Train to Busan, I've not seen that yet, and I've still got Parasite on my watch list, because I'm waiting for a time that I can sit and watch that with my husband again, because I've got that saved on my watch list. Yeah, I love psychological as well, Deanne. Psychological horrors as well. Like, a really good psychological horror that I watched that I hadn't seen before until a couple of months ago was the Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo. Like, that's going back a wee bit. That was like 10 years old. Oh my god, it was really good. I loved it. So, like, twisty turny and eerie. Love that stuff. Never seen the remake of Ghostbusters. It's not so much a remake as a reboot, I guess. So yeah, I love that. What are your favorite, like, psychological horror films, Deanne? Oh my god, I really didn't end up do you know what? I'm obviously just going to have to sign off for the day for the sewing the pouches, because the charm's on. I've done 2. I'll just have to finish the rest tomorrow. I wanted to start cutting my Christmas collection tomorrow, but maybe we will leave that for next week, a fresh week. So yeah, Shutter Island's really good. Also, the fact that the woman signed a legal statement that she was Ed's plaything at the age of 15, right? Like 15, she's basically a child. Like, that's not cool. Same as like a lot of directors. It's like when people talk about, I get so annoyed when people talk about Hodorowski and like his tarot stuff, because I'm like, guy's a fucking rapist. Can we not? I will not give that man any of my fucking money. I will not buy the Cameron Hodorowski deck. I will not buy his fucking books. Nope. It's not a magic mushroom film, Tony. It's a film based around like almost like an Alcatraz type prison. It's on an island, essentially. And Snowpiercer. Yes, I enjoyed Snowpiercer as well. I didn't watch the TV show. I heard that wasn't quite so good. But I really enjoyed the TV show. The film, sorry. Hello, Naman. Not sure how to pronounce that. So let's see what else. Just check I'm up to date with all the chat. Wow, this turned into a horror fest. But we just go with it, don't we? We start off with tarot and we end up with horror. Exactly. Okay, I was like, right? Like, please. And I don't know if I think a lot of people are not aware, because this is the same thing with like Men in Power, right? They just, you know, people say, oh, cancel culture. Please show me where like someone being an abuser has completely ruined their life. And the only one that I can really think of is Harvey Weinstein. And all I can say to that is fucking good. got what is coming to him. Years of abusing his position and his power and his money. Hope he rots in hell. Not that I believe in hell, but you know what I mean. Not the TV show. I haven't watched that either. No. 'Tis the season, says Heather. Exactly. 'Tis the season for spooky stuff. Anyway, I need to go get some more water because I'm like really flustered from chatting so much. I've given up sewing charms on because this was a disaster on that front. But it was a success on talking about horror films, which is one of my favourite things ever. So, you know, I love me some spooky stuff. I don't know if you noticed. Who are you talking about, says Heather? Jodorowsky. The director, but also known in tarot circles. He was Yoav Bendov's tarot teacher, in fact. And, you know, I like Yoav Bendov. But, you know, he can't control what, you know, who knows what he knew. Probably didn't know the half of it. But, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I need to go pee and get some water. And what's the time? 4:45? Oh, my goodness. Oh, well. If I put this much energy into actually, like, doing the things I need to do, or even, like, pre-filming and uploading videos, that would probably be better than me just chatting bollocks for an hour and a half here. I hope you had a nice time, though. I'm glad to have off topics. Chat structure is overrated. Yeah. Time for lunch here, says Rosemary. Oh, nice. What are you having for lunch, Rosemary? I had spicy satay noodles. It was very good. Just checking again. Just checking I'm up to date. I'm wondering what the magic mushroom film is now, though, Tony. I'm like, what? Oh, tacos. Taco flavored kisses. I just always think of, what's his name? Thingy from, Carter from South Park. Cartman. Taco flavored kisses. What's that from, the film? I don't know. I haven't seen it for years. Anyway. So, yeah. Whatever time of day it is there, I hope that you enjoy what's left of your Thursday. Keep thinking it's Friday. It's definitely not Friday. It's Thursday. Unless you're in Australia, where it probably is now. Definitely Thursday. No, Friday. I need to go. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me. And you know the drill. Just take care of yourselves and each other. And, you know, be safe out there, and I will speak to you all next time. Ciao.